Hey, what's up everybody, this is Chris with Digital Rim, and in this video we're going to go over the OBS settings for beginners. So with that being said, we're just going to hop right into it. Let's go. Alright, first you really want to start by opening OBS, obviously. So then we're going to change the scene real quick, but you can find settings in your control panel here, or you can go to File, Settings, in the traditional method. I usually like to go to settings here, so we're going to click this one. Now that you have your settings window open, you see you have all these different options: general, stream, output, audio, video, hotkeys, advanced. We're going to start with general. Alright, so first you got your general settings, which is like your language and color theme and things like that. But more importantly, the output. One of the things I definitely highly urge you to do is check these options here for the dialog box to pop up when you are starting your stream and ending your stream. You also have these additional options here like source alignment. This is all for when you're creating your scenes, things like that. You can do these when you feel more comfortable. But for beginners, you don't necessarily have to do any of these, but I'm gonna still label them off. So you have your projectors. Again, you can read through them and see if it works for you. As you get more familiar, you will understand what they do. System tray, again, something that's not necessarily necessary for a beginner, but you can learn what it is about. Preview as well. So you can have different options for the preview. All of these little general options you can set up for yourself. Importers, same thing. Studio mode, I didn't change anything here. These are the default settings. So pretty much leave them at this default settings. But one of the things I do want to highlight is this enable portrait vertical layout. If you turn your monitor sideways, like you have a vertical monitor, you can record actual footage, for Instagram or something like that. So keep that in mind. You have the multi-view here as well. So again, get more familiar with this as you get more familiar with OBS Studio. So we're going to go ahead and go on to the next section here. All right, so now we're going to click on streams. This is one of the most important parts. So streams is where you're going to stream to. So you have different options like Twitch, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. These are the platforms that you're going to stream to when you are streaming live. But you can also click to more options and you see all of these different options. If you do have an account with these different people, you can actually set your account up with these different options. So you see it has multiple different options to choose from. But we're going to go back to Twitch. All right, so we're going to look for Twitch. We try to find this. Boom, there it is. So Twitch, we're going to put it back on Twitch, and you can simply just where it says disconnect account, it will say connect the account. You're going to enter your username, password, all that stuff, and it's going to automatically connect. Now you do have some options with Twitch here for your chat add-ons. You can hit that drop down, and if you have these add-ons, you can simply just toggle these on and it will automatically show on the UI of OBS. Pretty cool, huh? Become a Patreon today and support this community and support this channel. You might be asking, why would I want to do that? Well, one of the reasons is we are creating coding camps and tech camps for kids, and a lot of the Patreon dollars will go towards setting up those coding and tech camps with equipment and all of the things that are necessary to teach younger generations how to do some of the digital media techniques that we teach here at Digital Rim. So with that being said, your Patreon dollars will go towards scholarships for certain members of the Digital Rim community. So with that being said, make sure you get your membership, but at the same time, become a Patreon if you're not really interested in becoming a member just yet. Let's go. All right, so now we moved on to output. So you have all these different options for output: streaming, recording, audio, and replay buffer. This is the meat of how to set up your stream or in your recording. So we're just going to get right into it. So you're streaming first. You want to set your audio track to one track only. Right now, for a beginner, just one track. You can do multiple tracks, but I highly suggest you keep it simple and just do one track. Keep it simple, really. For your encoder, you're going to set this to the highest settings that you have. If you have a GPU, more than likely you will just set that to that GPU. Rescale output, you can do this to 1920 by 1080, especially if your canvas is at 4K. Now we have the section here for bitrate. We have it set to VBR, which is variable bitrate, and that allows the bitrate to change depending on the internet speed that you have. Your bitrate is the quality of your video, how much refinement it will have. So I'm going to give you this link that's down in the description below, but this is a YouTube help link that gives you a calculation of the best bitrate for your actual stream or for your actual, live feed. So again, 1920 by 1080 is 3,000 to 6,000 kilobits per second. Again, it's dependent upon your internet speed, but at the same time, these are the maximum. So that's why we did a variable bit rate. If you have a fast internet speed, more than likely you'll have 6,000. If you don't, then more likely you'll have 3,000. It'll go down to 3,000. So it's variable. So we're down in presets here. Now we set ours to max performance. Only main reasons because we know we're going to use Photoshop and we know we're going to use Blender, which are computationally heavy. So I want to make sure our performance of our machine keeps up to par, no matter if we're streaming or not. So the streaming comes secondary to the actual performance. So we're going to keep max performance here. So now we're going to go over to audio or recording. And the recording, we're going to set our type to standard, keep it real simple, standard, and we're going to set our recording path. So when we record a file or record footage, it's going to write to this destination. So it's going to be a file at this destination. And we're going to click this checkbox here because I like to save my files without name, without spaces. But again, this is something that's, however you prefer. Recording format, we're going to set ours to MP4, even though I highly recommend you either use MP4, MOV, or MKV. MKV, main difference is it allows you to write multiple audio channels. So you can edit multiple audio channels, being you might have one channel being the regular microphone, another channel being the audio from the desktop or computer, and then the other one being audio from your guest or whatever. MOV files I don't necessarily use because they tend to be large files, so I try to keep it simple. And then MP4 is what ideally I go with because again, it's universal and allows you to upload to many different platforms. So MP4 I highly urge. The only thing you're missing is the multiple audio tracks with the MP4, but it's worth it. So we will go ahead and select the MP4 again, and then encoder, we're going to set that to NVIDIA, whichever one's the highest for you, for your machine. We're going to go ahead and set that to the GPU, and then we're going to go into the bit rate. This again is like the variable bit rate from before, but because we're recording, now we can set this a little higher. And the CBR stands for constant bit rate. So we're going to set this to 15,000, and we're going to make sure our preset is set to quality because again, this is a recording that we are going to record. We're going to post to, we're going to post on social media or on YouTube. So we want the quality to be as high as possible. Now we're going to go into audio. So we're going to click audio, and you see it as we kind of alluded to before, there are different audio tracks here. So you have track 1 through track 6. Go ahead and name your track. We named our first one microphone. Key is you want to make sure your track is between 160 and 224. If you're just doing audio from a microphone, you can stay at 160. It's perfectly fine. Now you see in track 2 that we labeled our desktop, we set ours to 224 because we don't know if it's more than likely, I don't say we don't know, it's more than likely we'll use music and things that come from our desktop. So you want more dynamic sound coming from your desktop. So 224 is what we went with. And I highly suggest you do the same. And then we have an audio input for a third, some type of third audio input probably, and put it at 160. So the general audio settings is at 48 kilohertz. Just the highest one. Just set it to the highest one. That's the easiest thing. Now you might have channels here. You might be tempted to go to 70.1 Dolby surround sound, but just keep it as stereo. Keep it simple. You really don't want to cause too much computational power on your machine, especially when you start streaming. All right, so we're going to set our global audio. The mic auxiliary, we want to go ahead and assign that. We want to go ahead and assign that to whatever mic you're going to use primarily. So your primary mic, you want to set that right here at mic auxiliary audio, right? And then we have all of these different other options, advanced and hotkeys, where you can set the hotkeys to mute and things like that. If you want to, you can do it, but for beginners, it's not necessary. All right, so now we clicked in the video here. So we have the base canvas. The base canvas is pretty much what we're building from. We can set this up to 4K, but again, it's gonna be a lot more computational power. So we're gonna do 1920 by 1080, and then an output being the output of the stream is also gonna be 1920 by 1080. I highly urge that you keep them the same, because as you see now, we're gonna have a downscale filter, and you see when you scale, it can cause the computational speed to become more lag or blurry. So we just try to keep them the same. Again, it's tempting to go 60 frames per second depending on your machine, but we like to keep ours at 30 frames per second. Nothing less. Don't do 24, do 30 frames per second. Just keep it simple. All right, so now we're rounding third base with the hotkeys. The hotkeys are essentially allows you to set up keys that are on your keyboard to do quick actions in OBS. So for instance, if you want to, transition to a different scene, you can hit the space bar and it will assign that space bar to do a transition for you. So it'll allow you to set up these keys to do the transitions or do whatever you want to do. So you can set these keys up to do that particular action. So you see, as each scene that we set up, it has a ability to insert some keys for that to be, or hotkeys for that to be the action that needs to be done. All right, so now we're going to go to the last step, which is advanced. And you can see in general, we have the process priority. We're going to leave it at normal. And there in the video, we're going to set the renderer to the highest one that you have available. So we have Direct3DX. Color format, we're going to keep it NV12. I was tempted to do RGB, but NV12 was better for streaming and it gave me the prompt. So we're going to keep it at NV12. Color space, I changed to sRGB. But you can change it to wherever you want to. And I set the color range to partial for computational purposes and quality look, but you can leave it at whatever you want there. File name, you want to go ahead and set your file name for when you are writing a file or recording the file. So the file will be named this thing when you record. So you can also add these tags that will insert, let's say, the year, the month, the date, the hour into your file name. So again, it will add these additional naming conventions or tags to your file name. So each file may have a different name depending on the time, date, or hour. So you can set these up, and here's a quick guide to that. All right, so we have the stream delay. I don't necessarily keep that or to automatically reconnect. I definitely keep this enabled just in case the internet goes out and the frames drop. It'll pop back on automatically, where you don't have to really pay attention to if you're online or not. Network, enable network optimization. I checked this. I definitely highly urge you check that. Sources, kept this the same. Kept it checked. Hotkeys, and then once you're done, hit apply, okay, and you're done. That's the settings for OBS Studio. Simple as that. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to learn more, go to digitalrim.com and become a member today. With your membership, you get access to our course library. We have all different types of digital media content creation topics that you can cover and learn for yourself. Very beginner friendly, just like this video. So with that being said, go to digitalrim.com and get your membership today. And don't forget, join our Discord community at the link below. You can get access to a lot of topics and discussions about these videos just like this from members of the Creator Camp. So with that being said, hopefully I'll see you in the Discord community in the link below. Let's go.